process.
That's awesome. Oh, Thorn, congratulations. All right. Apparently, I turned my microphone off. Thorn, congratulations. That is awesome. Steven, Savannah is 13 today. That is exciting. I saw your guys' parade communication. Are you guys doing the parade today or was it yesterday?
It's today at 3 o'clock.
Wonderful. Have so much fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, it sure will be.
Very fun. Laura Goolsby, after a year, a listing closed. That is super awesome. Nothing like a long-term listing. Whitley, on track to break a personal record. Awesome. Good stuff. That is very exciting. Oh, Melissa, that's awesome. We have all been in that slump. So congratulations on pulling yourself out of that one. You guys have had some rocky ones, especially with that that crazy appraisal issue. So glad you actually appraised. Good stuff. Anybody else? Anybody want to unmute and give us a success story so far for the week or the month? I know it's early, but what do we got? Not all at once, guys.
So I'll share a little something. Excuse me. This is Laura, by the way. So my listing that closed yesterday was under contract before COVID shut down, fell out of contract due to COVID, and then we ratified again 2 months later with the same buyers, but there were 5 properties at stake. So we had a multiple contingency situation, but miraculously everything closed over the culmination of 2 days. So the first property started in Kansas City, that closed on the 4th, and then a Johns Island property closed on the 4th, and then Hidden Cove property closed, which allowed my property to close and my sellers to purchase a home. So 5 different transactions from that.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it can happen.
That's awesome. I'm writing that down because that is just a really cool story. So that is awesome. Congratulations, Laura. Way to stick it through too.
Thank you. And that's why we have prayer time. That's my sales pitch for prayer time.
Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff. Lots of multiple contingencies out there right now. So make sure that you guys are doing everything you possibly can to stay ahead of them. And also make sure that you're vetting every side of every deal that you possibly can. So awesome stuff. Great example, Laura. Nice reduction, $50,000 reduction on Shelmore, Kathy Remington. That's awesome. Hopefully that helps get you into a new bracket, at least, if not some new eyeballs on the listing. Thank you guys very much for your gratitude. Also, thank you very much for your patience and your space so I could spend some time with my family this past weekend. I know some of you know, but maybe not all of you, because I intentionally didn't send out emails saying so, but the hurricane ended up coming up to New Jersey and got a little crazy and super windy. So we ended up having our first flight canceled and they bumped us to the next day, which was great because we got to spend some extra time with family and all of that. But when we got home yesterday afternoon, we had to drive to Orangeburg, which, in case you didn't know, is really far away because Tyler's truck was stolen out of my driveway the morning we left for the trip. So it was recovered, so that's great. But it was nothing short of a nightmare yesterday, and we had to change all the doorknobs on my house because they also have a house key to my house because they have his car keys, and they also have a spare key to both our vehicles. So hopefully they don't come back and steal our vehicles. But all that to say, I'm grateful for the time with family. My nephew is completely precious, and he did not want me to go back to work. He said, I don't need to go to work. I just need to stay there and play trucks with him. So I wish that I could do that. But it was a good trip overall. And thankfully, Tyler's truck is back and in one piece, and nobody was injured or harmed. And if you want the rest of the crazy story on that, I'm happy to share it because it's kind of funny at this point. But anyway, I'm grateful to see you guys. I'm glad we're here and connecting back together. I want to make sure that we're doing everything we can the rest of this week and the rest of this month, because I think if you can put into perspective that if we did a 12-week year, which we have done in the past, and we had a laser focus on 2 or 3 goals, individual goals each, collectively, we could accomplish a lot between now and the end of the year. And if we did a 12-week year focus, that would bring us right until about September 20th. And that would be a really nice way to cruise through the end of the year with some pending contracts and some listings. So we might start focusing a little bit in on that. I thought about it yesterday, and I started rereading the 12-week year. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. But for today, let's get rolling on our sales meeting and see what we've got to celebrate so far this morning. So I know we've got a birthday coming up. We've got Tom Ritter coming up on August 12th. So that's exciting. Happy birthday, Tom. I hope you and Kimberly have some fun plans. And I know we have a couple more birthdays in the month of August too, Tony being one of them. So well, more to come on that. And I know Tony also threw up in the chat box this morning that she is very happy and grateful to have a new great partner, Alyssa, sitting up front. So we are also grateful that Alyssa is here. All right, mark your calendar upcoming. I know you guys saw this email go out from Michael. If you have never had to, no, I didn't say she threw up in the chat box. She threw it up in the chat box, Thorn. If you have never had the opportunity to listen to Patty Scarfile, the owner of our company, speak, Tuesday is the day. So that's going to be awesome. She is just a wonderful, smart, very kind, and just inspiring woman. Certainly somebody that you want to listen to. So August 11th, that's Michael Scarfile's guest. And of course, that is his mother, Patty, the owner of our company, coming up this Tuesday to chat with us. Continuing ed, if you are set to renew this year, don't forget we have plenty of offerings for CE on the intranet on Rose. So don't forget to sign up for that. I think most of them are virtual / in-person, so you can do either or. If your preference is to stay at home and quarantine for that, that's perfectly fine. All right, guys, July. Sorry, I got a nice tube. Excuse me. July production was awesome. The market finished up 34% in closed sales. Carolina One, as a company, finished up 42% in closed sales. That is phenomenal. Very exciting stuff. We hit our goal for the month of July, which was awesome. Thank you very much. We had 34 listings for $21.5 million. Average price is $633. We had 118 sales for $56 million. Average price of $478. And we had 124 closings for $55.9 million. Average price of $459. So that is awesome, awesome work. I'm going to highlight the people with multiple transactions here. For the month of July, there is so many, and everyone is moving and grooving. Now, keep in mind, guys, when you see these multiple transactions here next to somebody's name, that is because it either represents a listing, a sale, or a closing. So that doesn't necessarily mean 10 closings or 12 closings. That is 10, 12, or something, listing, sale, or closing. They all count. So we've got Pam Bishop with 10, Dominique Snyder-House with 4, the Fessler team with 12, Stephen Hudako with 4, the Perella group with 14, Bob and Sherry Offer with 3, the Rini Kramer team rocking it last month with 20 transactions. That is awesome. Simply Southern group with 14, awesome stuff, ladies. Karen Taz with 3, Ann Wise with 4, Jeannie Axel with 9, Donna Caps 2, Carrie Walker 9, Whitley Boyd with 5, hitting her PR. That's awesome. Goolsby with 12. Great stuff, girl. DuBose Cuthbert with 6. Casey Benton with 8. Lauren Zarilla with 10. The Ritter Group 6. Bonnie Cook 7. Ashley Marsh 2. Catherine Remington 3. Charlotte McDonald flying solo there with 11. Good stuff. Duval Acker 4. Tina Hartford 7. Alex Terregas 7. The Poppy team with 10. Let's see who else we've got with some multiples here. The Elite Rand team with 3. Digit Matheny 5, Connie Deeren 2, Homes of Low Country 4, Mary Guest 3, Mary Maloney 3, Paula Lynch with 2, Katrina Johnson 4, Tina Campbell Byers 2, Jason Looney 3, the Northrop team 4, Doug Gepford 2, Thorne Cathcart 2, Wells Grimble 2, and a ton of individuals, especially Michelle Gathers down there with her first listing. Awesome stuff, guys. How to do this, I don't know. You guys are killing it. Lance, do we not have you on here? That would be strange because we just highlighted your listing last week. But let's not forget, Lance Morrison, at least what you have, one listing and maybe another transaction, just one? All right, well, let's make it two. Let's make it two. Let's get you into August with a ratified contract on there. Well done, guys. That's awesome work. Thank you very much. I know you guys have been working hard and we appreciate it. And we see your hard work every day. So I know a couple of you saw this post on my Facebook page and I just want to kind of highlight it for a second here. I really, really appreciate you guys always telling me when you're working with a good agent on the other side of the transaction. Many of you know that I will reach out to the agents who you do co-op transactions with and just thank them for the business. Not because I want to recruit every person that we do a transaction with, but because you guys work really, really hard and our market is really tense right now. And it takes me 2 seconds to send a text message and say, hey, I noticed you had a transaction with Lance Morrison last week. Thank you very much for your hard work. I also appreciate it when you guys reach out to me and tell me not to recruit this person. And again, it's not an intention of just recruiting. It's just to say, hey, thank you. I do believe that we should always be extending that extra effort to say thank you. Not every transaction is perfect, but that doesn't mean every agent is at fault. I think sometimes just saying, hey, thank you for the transaction really goes a long way. And you guys can do the same thing. I also really appreciate you guys just reaching out and saying, hey, listen, there's an agent over here. I think she could really use some support. And I think we can really help benefit this agent by the resources that we offer. I could probably count just off the top of my head 5 agents in our office that are in our meeting right now that came to us that way. So thank you guys very much for your referrals and support, not just on the agent side, but also on the admin side. We had, I think, 15 resumes that we received, and 6 of them came from you guys in terms of office administrators. That being said, Mount Pleasant North is hiring for another office administrator. They just got somebody last month, and unfortunately the person's circumstances changed a little bit and they have to move and give up the position after 1 month. So that kind of stinks. So we're always hiring for office administrative support because we also have a lot of teams that are growing and teams that need admin. We have 2 teams right now looking to grow. One is looking for a buyer's agent and another one is looking for an admin. So keep that in mind. And remember, if you guys are interested in something or you have a question about the company or how it's structured or how we grow, remember my door is always open. Let's make sure we're leveraging that partnership and we're always open to having that conversation with each other. So also, if you guys have office administrator position or ideas, resumes, anything like that for Mount Pleasant North, let me know and I'll pass them on to Tim. Questions? All right, couple important memos. First and foremost, did you not see it on Facebook? Congratulations out to Ellen Bishop. Her and Ryan are engaged. She called me while I was in Jersey. She called me and my phone was upstairs and I felt terrible and then I missed it and then I called her back and then finally we connected. But she said, Ryan asked me the question and I said yes and we are engaged. She said she was, they were having a really deep conversation and it was a really sweet moment. And then he got down on one knee and of course she said yes. So reach out to Ellen, shoot her a text message. For those of you who know Ellen knows that she really loves being here and loves hugging us and can't do either of those things right now. So you can send her a virtual hug. I know it would go a long way. So reach out to her. We are very excited for her and Ryan. All right, quick reminder, I think you guys are all good on this, but just in case you haven't, check your phone and make sure that you have this phone number under my contact, 843-749-0755. At one point, you guys had my Lion Desk phone number from my Lion Desk CRM, but I don't use that one anymore. So please make sure you have this one in there because at some point, I'm not going to be able to receive calls or text messages from Lion Desk, and I won't know who's calling. All right, so we've talked about this. This is no news or no surprise to you guys. Inventory is dropping. Just don't forget that you can search MLS for properties that are active contingent with a kickout clause. I'll show you the video again on how to do that. Let's see if we can play this real quick. It's very easy. It's on MLS. You're going to go up to quick search. You're going to change your status to active contingent, obviously. Once you've done that, put in your criteria, whatever that criteria is, you know, area, town, list price, number of bedrooms and baths, that sort of thing. In this example, I went to areas 41 and 42, and I just did up to 450. And then you're going to go down and add a field to your search, which will be contingency reason. Once you've got that up, you're going to type in kickout clause. Whoops, sorry. Any questions on this? I know Jen Huffman had a question that I don't know if that got answered in terms of what it means to be a backup offer and that sort of thing. But this is huge right now. Backup offers really should be a part of what we're doing. If we're on the listing side and we have the opportunity to take a backup offer, we should absolutely be doing it. Any questions on this or backup offers? Going once. Going twice. All right. Quick reminder on business partners. Don't underestimate the value of reliable partners, especially now. Laura Goolsby can probably admit that if there was not good lenders and good attorneys and good insurance partners on those 5 deals, that something definitely could have gone awry. So keep in mind also with Carolina One Insurance as our partner, auto policies are definitely a good thing to consider wrapping into your homeowner's insurance with Carolina One. When I think I've told you guys this story, but when I had Carolina One Insurance do my homeowners, I also had them look at my auto because I had USAA, and I just always believed for whatever reason USAA was the best. And when Sass looked at my policy, he said, Maggie, if somebody taps your bumper, you are SOL. I was like, oh, okay. So I end up having somehow get more coverage for auto with less of a premium. So keep in mind, reach out to them, let them consult, let them review your insurance policies, and make sure you've got that coverage. Another reminder from Weeks and Irvin. So this has come up a couple times. There is an attorney, at least one that I know of, that is not doing late closings and not doing wires past, I believe it's 3 o'clock. So check your schedules when you are scheduling closings and stay ahead of them, meaning get the documents to the attorneys early so that they can do their part. And also, if you're going to have a delay, make sure that the attorney, and I'm talking about a delay in the day, make sure that the attorney is going to still be able to wire the funds, because if you don't wire funds, you're not technically closed, and we shouldn't be delivering keys unless we have some written agreement to allow us to do so. Any questions on this? This has come up a bunch of times. All right, so going back to backup offers. I know, Whitley, you have in the chat box there that you won as a backup offer recently for less than the first buyer. That is awesome. Typically what happens is the opposite of that. The backup offer usually is more than the primary position offer. So congratulations, that's a really awesome perspective to put in there. And Fessler, you said you had a question on it.
Yeah, so once we have a backup offer in hand, what do we do with it in terms of turning it in or documents, checks, things like that?
Good question. So if it has a check and you're accepting earnest money, then it has to be turned in. If it doesn't have a check because you've done an agreement saying that earnest money won't be delivered until it's in primary position, then you don't have to turn it in until it's in primary position.
Okay.
Good question. Anything else on backup offers? Okay. All right, we've got Cheryl in the office with us this morning. Tell us a little bit about solar panels and mortgages.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to take a few minutes because I'm seeing a few more questions pop up, or closing delays, or houses that we just can't finance with different solar panel issues. So I thought we'd take a few minutes and talk about that, because I know that a lot of you have come across this and are kind of confused about it. So, you know, when a house has solar panels on it, you need to have your red flags up right away, because hopefully the listing agent will provide this in the seller's disclosure, but don't count on it, unless they're Carolina One agents, of course. So, but you need to know on solar panels, is it under a purchase agreement with the solar panel provider? Are the solar panels being leased and the lease carries a monthly payment? Or is it under a power purchase agreement? So if it's a purchase agreement, The solar panel company will have placed a second mortgage lien on the house generally. There is also what's called a UCC, which is a different type of lien. But I'm not going to get too far into the weeds, but here's what you need to know. Carrie and Tina had one last week. The house was, I think, 180, but there also was a lease agreement with and so my buyer had to qualify with the lease agreement payment factored in, and she did not. So, so you have different issues. You have purchase with liens, and the liens can come over, but the house then has to appraise, etc. I tell you what, Maggie, go to the next slide because it actually lays that out a little better. So the information we need is what type of solar agreement, like I just said. Is it a purchase? Are they leased? Has somebody else placed the solar up there and they're paying you for the use of the roof? Is there an outstanding balance? Because we need to know, is the seller paying it off with the sale of the house? If the seller is not paying it off with the sale of the house, then that becomes, we end up having a first and a second mortgage combination, and the house has to appraise. I will tell you that FHA and state housing funds, I have not dived into USDA, but they will not allow it. So we did check on that as well for Tina's client. So this UCC terminate, stay on that page.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. The UCC termination will be required regardless of the type of borrower or solar panel ownership. That it's a termination agreement that the current solar panel company with the debt is releasing our new owner from the transaction. And so on Tina Byers' mother-in-law's house, we had to delay closing because the listing agent and seller who had promised to get the information did not. So we could not close without knowing what the seller was paying off, and that'd be paid off 100%. It's only a one-day delay. However, if we can do these things up front, it wouldn't have been a delay at all. So you need to find out, are the panels paid in full? Is the power purchase agreement transferable? I don't know why it wouldn't be, because people do sell their homes. And there is a lien on the property. So, and is the lease agreement transferable? So here's the thing to understand. If the solar panels are leased, then the company that owns the solar panels will provide all the maintenance on the solar panels. If they're owned, then your owner of the home, your new buyer of this particular home, is responsible for any repairs required, you know, during the time that they own the property. So there's a lot of things to be aware of, and I've only scratched the surface. So go ahead to the next slide, Maggie. So also, we need to make sure that insurance covers these solar panels. These solar panels can be 15, 20, 30,000, depending on, you know, the size, the quality, etc. So does the homeowner's insurance policy cover the panels and any damage that they could create to the home? Because the panels, of course, are attached to the roof. So are they creating damage when they are getting nailed to the roof? You want to make sure that the coverage does not exclude losses because of the presence of solar equipment. So, and then confirm the owner of the solar panel is not named a lost payee, because what if there's a hurricane that comes along and it destroys some of the solar panels, and the insurance includes that company in the loss? That company is going to have to agree to sign the check over to the buyer, the owner of the home. So very, very important behind the scenes information on these. Okay, go ahead, Maggie. So how do solar panels impact the mortgage process? We want to know up front, because there's either going to be a secondary lien that many sellers just assume will transfer to the new owner, or we need to know if there's a lease, and we have to have the paperwork showing how much it is, and that lease will then transfer to the new owner. And I need to make sure with you all that our financing will accept it. Our conventional financing will accept it with all the proper documentation. As I said, FHA loans will not allow it. I did find out for Tina's client that state housing will not allow it. And so also, if you have a first and second mortgage combination loan, that also changes the qualifying, and it can change the rate as well. And the house has to appraise for the sales price plus the cost the current outstanding debt on the solar panels. So if you have a house for 150 and the seller has got $30,000 worth of solar panels, that's $180,000. If the house does not appraise at the 180 or more, then we have a bit of a backwards issue, right? Okay. And the very last thing is when a solar finance company is involved, they are very slow in getting the paperwork back to us. What we got for Tina's mother-in-law is they sent us the blank UCC financing statement amendment. They sent it to us blank. No information, no information. We couldn't, so we had to go back to them again and say, well, we need you to fill it out. We need to know the property address, how much is owed, and will it be paid off? So, so that took a little bit more work than we are expecting to have to do. So anyway, so you know, let me know what your questions are if these come up. They're not necessarily problematic, but we just need to do our homework up front. So, so let me know if y'all have any questions on that. I've got quite a bit of notes on it, and you just can Google it. There's a ton of great information, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Shirley, another thing that I've been asked a lot is once the solar panels are on a home, can we market and increase the price because of it? And I think you touched on that when you're talking here about whether or not the house will appraise. But Adam Perella recently had one where he listed a house, and the only difference between the time that she bought it and the time that they were listing it was that she added solar panels. Well, can we justify $35,000 in increased value over a 2-year span just from the addition of solar panels? Potentially, but not necessarily if they're not paid off. If they're not paid for, then we really haven't made an investment. We've just added a lien to the property.
That's right. And so, yeah, so if they're not paid off, and it's kind of like, it's kind of like when you add $100,000 pool to your backyard and the appraiser comes out and says, oh, that's a nice pool, value $50,000.
Right.
So yeah, you don't get dollar for dollar. Absolutely not. Because
and there is a, we'll get that formula and we'll add it. Donna asked if we can send this out for sure. There is a formula that the solar panel company that came to us recently, Posey Haney's husband, son, Christian Haney came and talked to us not too long ago before COVID. And he did say there is a value that the appraisers are typically using, and it's per kilowatt of how much the panels are giving off. It's just going to be a rule of thumb, but we can certainly add that to this information. Yeah, I think that'd be very good. And, you know, I might reach out to Mr. Tawes because I'd like to have an appraiser's perspective on that. So Ron, Karen, I'll reach out to him because that's who we want to know from. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of HOAs don't allow them. So we haven't had a big influx of purchases and loans with these at this point. I do see it growing though. You know, you definitely, I hope that people will take a minute to think about, I'm going to save $100 a month in electricity. What's my break even? Right. Yeah. So anyways, okay.
Real quick, I want to jump in if I can real quick, just to follow up because you guys are talking about appraisals right now. And this is starting to pop up a little bit. So this reminded me to say something about this, especially with you guys as listing agents. Have your information prepared for an appraiser. An appraisal is necessary as to why you listed the property at the price you listed it at. All right, because it's starting to happen right now that the market, because there's such little inventory, the market is starting to be pushed, especially with these escalation offers and clauses and stuff like that we're seeing. Fantastic. They're fantastic ways to win contracts, but you have to be aware that the contract is not going to dictate the value. The appraiser is going to dictate the value, all right, to a certain degree at least. So you want to have all of your information ready so that you can make that case before the appraiser completes it, not after. Any questions on that? And there is a very specific process on how you actually challenge an appraisal after the fact as well. You have to actually show different comparables than were used and explain why the comparables you think should have been used are better comparables than the ones that were used. If you have any questions on any of that stuff, let us know. But because the market is tight with inventory, we're starting to see that a little bit because the market's starting to be pushed.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I don't think I did rates in the last week or two, but they are down. So, Andrew sent out a great link last week to read. I don't know what people are waiting for. It's really interesting. They're so far down. I mean, I, as an investor, wouldn't invest in mortgage-backed securities right now. Who wants to tie up money at 2.875 for 30 years? But anyways, so we appreciate the referrals we're getting for refinances. We've had several fabulous months, but our focus is purchase, and we closed 13 purchases last month. So we really appreciate that very much, y'all. Please, Andrew and I are here for you all the time. Y'all know that, on the weekends and the evenings. So if we're not here 8 to 6 in the office, it's because we know you need us oftentimes in the evening and on the weekends. So we appreciate y'all giving us a shot. It did slow down a bit last week, so that's because it's the first week of school. But anyways, we appreciate your business. And Maggie, if you want to go on, I'll do the thank yous. So we had some great closings last week with Laura Goolsby, Dominique House, and Justin Walkendorf. Thank you guys so very much. And Laura Goolsby, thank you for that new loan last week. Very nice loan. I really appreciate your business. And I want to thank the Fessler team, Melissa Loy, Ann Wise, and the Northrop team. We've got some pre-approval set up for them. And then, go ahead, Maggie. And then Ann Wise, Jeannie XL, and Heidi Stroop, they've reached out to us for some help in the past week with just putting some things together for their marketing and stuff. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Laura.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the info. And like I said, Donna, we will get it out to you guys in terms of the solar panel information. It might be good. Shirley and I will collaborate. If we have time today, if not today, tomorrow, we can make that a checklist for you guys with Carolina One Mortgage Long Point Road Mortgage Experts info on it in case you have questions while you're there sitting with your client. But it would just be a nice extra page that you could throw into your checklist when you're going listing a house that has solar panels. So Shirley and I will get together on that. All right, guys, real quick, I want to talk before we do our caravan here. What does this picture make you think of when you see this? Business people and one getting picked out from the crowd? Anything? Unmute yourself. Let me hear you.
What do you do to make yourself stand out?
Yep. What are you doing to make yourself stand out? What else? Yep, Lance, it's obviously you. That's definitely what that means. What else does it make you think of? Come on, guys, you sleeping on me this morning? Okay, well, here's what I'm actually, alien abduction. Yes, Laura Goolsby, what can we do differently? Yes, the claw. There you go. Thanks for your wonderful answers. There are no wrong answers here. What I really want to talk about and what this picture jumps out at to me is growth and attrition. So what does growth and attrition mean in terms of your business as a real estate agent? I'll tell you. And what does it mean? I just want you to think about this part. What does it mean in terms of growth and attrition to a real estate company? There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. And I think it's obvious to me a lot of times, but not something that I communicate to you guys, that my job every day is very similar to your job every day. And I can show you that through a couple definitions here. So growth for you guys is typically an increase in your sphere of influence, more closed transactions, or an increase in sales volume, right? So for me, on the opposite side of the spectrum, most of the time is the way we see it. It's the same thing. Growth for me as a business, me as a broker, me as an office, it's an increase in the number of agents we have at LPR. It's more transactions, either by adding new agents or by the current agents producing more, or an increased sales volume. So they're very, very similar. Attrition, on the other hand, for you guys as agents, is a decrease in the number of people in your sphere of influence, fewer closed transactions, or a drop in sales volume. And then for me, it's almost the same thing, a decrease in the number of agents at our office, fewer closed transactions by the agents in our office, or a drop in our sales volume. Not many of us are experiencing attrition right now, especially as individual agents. I think you guys are all, for the most part, maybe down over the year, but still seeing an increase in your sphere of influence or in your sales prices, just because of the way the market's heading. However, many factors lead into both of these, and attrition usually is an inevitable part of any kind of business. Attrition in real estate typically happens because either your sphere of influence is shrinking by one reason or another, or because you are winding down your business or you're taking time off. Attrition from a real estate company perspective is because people might be going into retirement. People might be switching to a company that's better suited for them at that stage of their business career. There's many different factors. But Tony Robbins, whether you believe in his systems or not, always says, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So we can think about this rhetorically and ask ourselves the question, is my business today growing? And if it's not growing, then what's happening to it? Quite the opposite, right? It's attrition. So we all have to choose daily to find ways to grow our business. You guys have to do it as a individual agent looking for a way to grow your business, and companies have to find ways to grow their business every single day. I promise this is not about me trying to ask you for recruits. You'll be surprised to see in a second. So I want you to ask yourself this question. You don't need to answer, but how do you grow your business every single day? And then I want you to ask yourself the question, how do companies in our market grow their business every day? Now think about that, and now look at this picture again. Recruiting calls. I know you guys are getting recruiting calls because you should be. You guys are good agents. Why wouldn't other companies and brokers want you to work for them? So I get a couple of questions, and I don't want to hide behind the fact that you guys get recruiting calls. In fact, last night I got forwarded a voicemail from one of our agents saying, listen to this. And it was a recruiting call from a broker from Coldwell Banker. So a lot of times when I'm working with new agents or just in general, I get asked the question, well, who's getting recruiting calls? And I will tell you, I remember back when I was an agent not too long ago, I was really kind of like, gosh, nobody wants me. I thought I was a pretty decent agent because I never got recruiting calls. So if you're not getting them, know that you're in the same boat I was in. But a couple of questions. So who gets them? Anybody who is performing in the market or underperforming in the market. There are certain metrics and tools that brokers have access to where they can see if your business is down or if it's up over the previous 12 months. And they can also put certain trackers in the MLS system where they can see if you've had business. So that's how they know who to call. Is there a way to prepare for getting a recruiting call? Yeah, just know your values, know what's important to you, know what you need, know how to respond to those sort of things. If you're comfortable with the company partnership that you've chosen, then just say that. If you're not comfortable with the partnership that you've chosen, let's talk about why, and then maybe let's figure out what is a better fit for you. You'll be surprised to know, I hope not, but I think you might be surprised to know that there are a lot of times when I interview new agents or I just go have a coffee with an experienced agent and I realize we're not the right fit for you. I don't want you to come on board if we're not going to be able to serve you because it's not going to help anything in the long run. So it's not just a numbers game. It really is meant to be a partnership with a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good partnership. So what do you do when you get a recruiting call? It's up to you. It depends on the need. It depends on the position that you're in. If you want my support and help in that conversation, navigating it, happy to do so. But at the end of the day, they're just doing their part to grow their business. So we don't have to get mad about it. And that happened last week. Somebody got really mad because this one company keeps calling. I mean, it's just part of business. And it really should be a flattery thing, right? So if you're curious on what my position is on it, I understand the intentions behind the recruiting calls you guys get. I'm happy that so many of you let me know when you get them. Sometimes I'm not sure how to necessarily respond to some of them because I'm not sure exactly what our intention is behind them until we have a conversation. But I really do want that to be an open dialogue. There's no reason to hide behind the fact that Carolina One is a big company with a lot of resources, and we are not the right fit for everybody. Do we think we're the right fit for everybody who is here today? Yeah. And if we're not, then we need to have that conversation because I'm not doing something to follow through. So I know it's a weird conversation to bring up, but it's a partnership for a reason. So I want to open that door of dialogue and I want to have that conversation with you. I had an agent who we interviewed on last Thursday, I believe it was. She was great. We had a great conversation and I really, really liked her. Actually, she lives in Park Circle. I actually ended up seeing her after our conversation later in the week in the little deli in Park Circle. She's getting her license. She wants to come into the business part-time because she doesn't want to give up her insurance benefits from her medical, from her current full-time job. I researched and I found medical benefits for her less than the cost of what she found on her own. And we had another great conversation and she emailed me yesterday and said that she passed her test. She's so excited, but she's going to another company. And I was like, ugh. So of course I hated it because I really believe that we're a good fit for her. But right now, she thinks that a company that will offer her training on the nights and the weekends that she can do it after hours working her full-time job is the best fit for her. When she told me why, I said, you're right, because that's not the way we operate. That's not our typical partner. So we don't take everybody on board, and not every company is the right company for you in terms of the people who are calling you. Be careful of the shiny objects, and don't get offended when somebody calls you from a recruiting perspective and says, hey, Maggie, I hear your business is down 10% this year. How do you feel about that? Because that is the approach some of them take. Just let it be, let it ride. And if you want to talk through it, I'm here to help you and support you. I will never stand in the way of you making a decision that's better for you at any point in your career. Any questions on this? Lance says, nobody knows his number. That's not necessarily good for real estate, Lance. Okay, so let's hear from our agents and do a little caravan summary here. We've got a couple of new listings. First one's first, Pixley Street. Bob and Sherry offered. Tell us what you got going on up there. Bob and Sherry. Okay, they've got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,052 square feet out in Carolina Bay. That feels like it's so far away, but we know that's a good spot. Looks like it is move-in ready and nice backyard view. So reach out to Bob and Sherry. That's listed at $355. Charlotte McDonald, you are busy, girl, making stuff happen. Are you on with us this morning?
Settings. Shit.
Oh, Sherry, I see you. I hear you. Sherry, are you there? All right, we'll come back to Sherry. And I just saw Charla, but I think she got booted out. Charla's got 134 Fulmer Place, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 1,652 square feet in Grand Oaks Plantation. Charla, did I just see you come back in? Got technical difficulties here this morning. Charlotte's got this one in Grand Oaks listed at $295. Stephen Hudeko, that's your neck of the woods. Find her a buyer on that one, would ya? All right, Zarilla, Maidstone. This one looks awesome. I love that pergola they got out back. What you got on this one? Where is everybody this morning?
Hey, Maggie, it's Nicole Garwood, Lauren's assistant.
Hey, girl, go for it.
I'll jump in. This is new listing. It's a beautiful home in Carolina Park. Very motivated sellers. It's super upgraded. Just, it's a pleasure to walk through. They are opening up for showings on Friday because they unfortunately had a family emergency. So we did put out a lot of beautiful photos, a great walkthrough video. So if you have people that are interested, just let them know Friday they'll be opening up for showings, and we'd love to get you guys in there.
Awesome. Love that house. Looks really nice.
Say something. Maggie.
Yes, Sherry, go back to Pixley.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. When we listed it, it was the only one story out there. I think there's another one on the market now. It's basically the same floor plan. They're advertising as 4 bedrooms, and it's really not. It doesn't have a closet or a window in that 4th bedroom. But anyhow, this is a move-in ready, as you said, ready to go. And it's an estate piece, so he's ready to be done with it.
All right, great listing there. You said it was the only one story, but now it's not?
Yeah, I think there's another one out there now about the same floor plan that's being advertised as 4 bedrooms, but you can't really count the study as a bedroom, or we don't think so. You'd have to parade through the dining room to get to the bathroom, plus no closet, plus no window. So.
Gotcha. All right, well, good listing. That looks like it'll move fast, especially at that price.
We hope so, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Charla, are you back with us? All right. And then Fesslers, you guys got a nice big one on River Vista Way. Tell us about that one.
I can go. Okay, so River Vista is a stunning home. It was finished in 2019. So really new. Our seller closed on it. Greg helped her build it. And they closed on it last year, like in the beginning of summer. It is 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. It has an elevator. She has never lived in it. So you're basically getting, your buyer would be getting pretty much a brand new home that no one has ever lived in. She also had a dock installed in the bottom right picture. It's the one in the middle. That's her dock, and it is on deep water. I know that's kind of a confusing thing because there's no true definition of deep water, but it is not titled. That is the Wando River right there. So yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It's easy to show. And just let us know if you have any buyers.
That's awesome. Great listing.
Thank you.
All right, Rick and Clark, Gypsy Lane. I love the name of that. Are you guys with us this morning? Looks like this one's got that nice outdoor area, 587 in Walkendale Lakes, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, just under 1950 square feet. Looks like not lots of updates as well. So reach out to Rick and Clark if you've got anybody in Walkendale. Last couple of things here before we go to prayer room. I have an inspirational video to show y'all as well. Laura Goolsby is looking for a, what do you got there? Newer 1-story in Mount Pleasant coming up under 600. If you have anything under 600, 1-story in Mount P, reach out to Goolsby. Lance Morrison needs a 55 plus buyer in the Elms for his listing. He said he knows that we all know people 55 and older. And I think that's all in the chat box so far. All right, so before we roll into prayer room, I want to show you guys this video. It's about a 4-minute video, but I think it'll be a little bit uplifting for this morning. I might jump ahead a little bit, but it's a pretty powerful video. So if you don't mind hanging on with me for a couple more minutes here, I think
Maggie,
send off your day in a good position. Yes, Kimberly, what you got?
hey, it's Kimberly Ritter. So may I jump in on the solar panels for a second, because I just recently had a closing with it.
Sure.
Okay, so it was a leased solar panel. When we did a little bit more investigation after we got an offer on it, they were able to pay it off in full. And so fortunately, my sellers had enough. I told them from the very beginning that, you know, that may be an issue, because then they're going to have to qualify for the extra monthly payment on that lease.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, the appraiser did not really take into account the solar panel. It did appraise, thank goodness, but we had negotiated that the buyers bring half to closing and the sellers bring half, or take out from their proceeds half at closing to pay off the solar panels. So not everyone has that much equity and not everyone has that extra cash. But it's good to, what I learned from that is that there is an option to do that. Whereas in the beginning, they don't really, the solar panel company that's leasing the solar panels do not really like to tell the people who lease them that information. Just FYI, guys.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I know we've got a good amount of agents who are running into the solar panel concerns, and a bunch of agents on the other hand of it who have experienced it already. So definitely keep sharing those kind of stories. And thanks for giving us that info, Kimberly. All right, anybody else on the have, wants, and needs side before we run into this video? The Poppies have an event today at 335 Bridgetown Pass from 11 to 1. I believe they sent out an email to the office. I saw something briefly yesterday, but if not, we will make sure that gets out and try to support each other like old school ways. Wear your masks, do your sanitizer thing, be safe in terms of COVID guidelines. All right, let's see this video and get ourselves inspired here.
I always wear my seatbelt. But this morning I'd had a stomach ache and I thought I'm gonna take it off just for a minute. And less than 10 miles down the road, I'd faded over a lane and was heading towards a mile marker on the side of the road. Right then, my back right tire caught the dirt on the side of this highway and pulled me completely sideways. I closed my eyes and I could hear the banging and crashing going on around my head. I felt myself pick up and leave through my window. When I opened up my eyes, I saw my truck. I thought, I'm so glad I'm not in there. If I had been in there, maybe I wouldn't be here. So I have been riding horses since I was 3 years old. I've been competing in rodeo since I was 7. I mean, I can tell you it's not what I do. It's a part of who I am. They load me in the ambulance and they take me back to Rollins, which is where I very first heard the news. The doctor walks in, and I don't even think he was talking to me, but he starts talking about being paralyzed. I said, whoa, wait a minute. What are the chances of me feeling or moving my legs again? He said, slim to none, and left the room. I wake up from surgery, and my mom had shown up there, and she said within an instant I'd gone from this girl with the world at her fingertips to now, neck brace, broken back, on oxygen, not sure what the rest of my life was going to hold. So my very first day of therapy, my nurse walks into my room and she says, Amberly, we need to set some goals. I told her, easy. Walk, ride, rodeo. She gave me the look like, girl, you have no idea how hard this is about to be. She was right. I had to set smaller goals like being able to move myself from my chair to a bed, or even to get dressed in the morning. Everything was hard. Now, I may not have left the hospital walking like I planned on, but when I left, I got leg braces and was able to stand on those leg braces. Maybe not ideal, maybe not perfect, but for me, it was enough to check it off the list. So now I want to get to my second goal. I told myself if I got back on my horse, that would be the one thing that would never change. I'm going to tell you what, that very first day I sat on that saddle, that day was harder for me than the day they told me I would never walk again. It was in that moment that I realized every part of my life was different. About 2 years after my accident, I was invited to Cheyenne, Wyoming for the daddy of them all. And then I'm invited to go down there for a charity event, so I tell them, okay, well, this is my first time driving on that same road I wrecked on. Well, this time around, I have my mom with me, and she wants me to walk her through the steps of that morning, so I'm telling her, this is the last place I ate. This is the last place I filled up. And this span of fence, well, this is where my life completely changed. About 20 minutes later, we stop at a gas station, and hanging on the wall is this quote. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. It was in that moment I realized that maybe I don't have control over this whole situation. But when you wake up in the morning, you get to decide your attitude. And if that's going to be the only decision you get to make in that day, well, you might as well make it a good one. So I went through the modifications. I got a seatbelt on my saddle. I have Velcro straps around my legs. And now that I have gotten on, I've ridden, I need to get to my last goal. Not only did I want to be able to get on my horse, but I wanted to compete. This last March, I was able to run in the rodeo called the American. That experience was one that showed me that even though I'm in this situation, even though I'm strapped to my saddle, I can still run with the best out there. If at any point along the way you decide this is it, you decide this is as far as you're going to get, you will be right. We're all going to have those moments, those obstacles, those trials in our lives. Everything happens for a reason. It may seem hard in that moment, but know that if you dig deep and you never give up, you can keep going.
All right, what do you think? That's pretty powerful, huh? I put a couple of things on here that I pulled from that. At the end there, she says, attitude is a small thing that makes a huge difference. You get to decide your attitude every single morning. And if that's the only choice you make that day, make it a good choice. And then at the very end, she says, if at any point along this way, this year, you've decided that this is it, this is as far as you've come, this is as far as you're going to go, this is as good as it's going to get for the year, you're right. It might seem hard in the moments, but if you dig deep and refuse to give up, the only option left is to keep going. So I know this year has been tough, and I know that sometimes you wake up in the morning, you're not feeling inspired to go make that phone call to that agent or call the other appraiser and tell them why your house should appraise at a certain value, or call your client for your buyer client for the third time and tell them you lost out on multiple offers. I understand it's tough. And in those moments, it's hard. But if you dig deep and you refuse to let that be it and let that be the end for the year, the only thing left to do is to keep going and to keep fighting and to keep pressing on. So don't give up on this year. We are only a little bit more than halfway through it. 5 months is such a long time, and that's what we've got left. I'm here to help you guys. I've got your back. I appreciate you showing up every day. And by the way, that girl is a local South Carolina girl. She's not local to Charleston, but she is a South Carolinian. And I sent her video to a girl I know that works with Tyler, who's a horseback rider. She's a competitive horseback rider. And she said, oh my gosh, I've met that girl. And I said, no way, that's crazy. She said, we call her Hell on Hoofs. And that's pretty darn awesome. So if you need to rewatch it, do it, because it's a pretty powerful video and everything is tough. But we have a choice, a small choice every day to make when we get out of bed and put our feet on that floor every morning. And that's our attitude for the day. And if we're going to have one choice, start off with the right choice and make it a good one. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad to be back with you guys. I'm around the rest of the day today and tomorrow, and of course through the weekend. Let's rock on and finish the week out strong. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Maggie. You guys have a great weekend.
You too.
Take care, everybody.
Do you mind if we keep your computer open, or can you log off and let us stay on for prayer?
Yep, you guys can take it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a great video. Very,
Yes.
it puts everything in perspective.
Super powerful video.
Oh yeah.
I'll send it out to everybody today.
Well, it just makes the things that we run into very small compared to daily struggles with how you live. That's huge. So.
Yep. Doesn't mean that they're not hard, right?
Yes, that's right. And I'm so sorry about Tyler's truck. Oh my gosh.
I know.
That happened the morning you left?
Yes.
Oh, what on earth? But where did they recover it?
In Orangeburg at somebody's house.